STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel.
Champions!
The IRS is coming to your house with guns.
Hey, we're telling you now.
They will take these taxes from you by fire, by force. Okay?
Don't worry, you don't even have to go to jail. They'll just come to your house and take you out.
They'll come to you, man. This is absolutely asinine. Listen, a few months ago, as you know, the IRS was talking about adding a bunch of agents and weaponizing them. For what reason, we don't know. Because I don't think auditors need to come to your door with weapons.
No, Biden said that they needed to enforce taxation on the rich. Remember how the initial tax was, we're just only going to tax the Americans that make $800 a year? They told us that they were going to give us 20 to 23,000 more agents to enforce taxation on the super rich.
Let me point out a few things before we press on with this situation. Taxation. We pay taxes in order to give the public servants a salary.
So that they can services.
Exactly. So they can act in our best interest while we go to work. Right?
So that we can pay them again.
When we pay taxes, we are paying the salary of the police officers. Very good use of money. We're paying the salary for some emergency services, fire services. Amazing use of money.
Road construction, bridges.
Right? We are also paying the salary of people who are supposed to represent us in Congress and, the wider political sphere.
Retire fat and rich.
The use of that money is becoming extremely blurry. So blurry to the point that the same people that we pay, our public servants, are now coming back to us to demand more money with guns. This is not anything short of a robbery.
It's so bad, right, that the money is not even getting to them fast enough that they have to print it.
Extortion on the highest level. Listen to this. 20 heavily armed IRS and ATF agents raid Great Falls gun store. They seize firearm purchase records. A lot of these things are always strategic because you're always on the face of it. It looks like, we need to go out there and just make sure that people are paying their fair share of taxes. But you have to look at the configuration of the things. If you do not pay your taxes, the person that should be coming to your house is someone who is great at Excel. They should be showing up with a spreadsheet. Right? And be like, listen, this is where you owe us and so on and so forth. Right? And then maybe you can recalculate and decide whether you're going to pay them more money or not. Because as we already know, their mathematics tends to be extremely off, extremely biased, and honestly, pointless because the money is ours. And the money we're giving to them should be serving us. So it really makes no sense. Now, when you have the IRS show up to a store, a gun store specifically, and we look at the broader range of things.
Connect the dots. Right?
What are some things that are highly publicized right now in America? Some things they want to change.
Your kids.
Sex. Gun control.
Yep.
Right? We have seen people like BlackRock, Larry Fink himself, is it BlackRock? Came out saying that we have to force behavioral change.
They did say that.
Did he not?
Yep. JP Morgan said the same thing as well.
Okay.
What's his name?
Oh, yeah, the guy with, is it JP Morgan? Yeah.
Yep.
And at the same time, we see now that one of those changes that they would like to make is this idea of gun control. Being able to restrict Americans from owning guns, which is really a human right, man. This is not an American right. Anywhere in the world, it is your right to be able to own a weapon.
To defend yourself.
Because you're just a normal human being, like any other normal human being. And so, how can we connect the dots here? Before we even connect these dots, I would like to draw you a picture, okay? This is where I was born, the country that I was born in, Cameroon, right? And this is very recent history, and I've mentioned it before on the show. And we can see that the same thing applies globally. At some point in time, there was a conflict about the language spoken within the country because there's English and French.
It's not even your own natural language.
Exactly, not even your own natural language. Now you're fighting over
language
of foreigners.
Yep.
And so there was protests naturally. And the government of that country sent out the military to shoot down the unarmed people who were protesting, because they can do that and there will be no repercussions. Right now, if China was to try to do whatever to its citizens, I don't think that they have the capability and the manpower to fight back with their own weapons, because they cannot defend themselves. The same applies to many countries across the globe. And we can see that in many of these countries, I get it, not everyone needs to be living with this American standard or the American idea of freedom, right? But for those moments, when things get to that critical point, I think everyone wishes they can defend themselves. And they should have that right to defend themselves. Right?
This is what the constitutional writers were thinking of.
Yeah.
Because they know every government can eventually become tyrannical.
Yeah. Absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely.
Right? So now imagine now where we're in a place where they're pushing gun control. They're totally trying to control everyone's mind. They're confusing everyone.
The president just said that they own our kids. The government owns
they said
the
they
kids.
own our kids, which is absolutely asinine. Okay? This is not the America that I've ever known, right?
Yep.
And so now, if you cannot succeed at this gun control thing, what is your next best thing? Is to try to identify the people that have these guns.
Yep.
So you can at least control the situation around these people and change their behaviors.
The same thing they did with Bitcoin. They went to the exchange. They went to the banks. You go to where the source is.
Yes.
Right? So they go into the gun stores.
All right.
Are you guys connecting the dots?
Check this out. An unprecedented move. 20 armed Internal Revenue Service and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms Explosive agents carried out a raid on a gun store in Great Falls, Montana, seizing all Form 4473 documents that record buyers' information during a firearms transaction. I don't think that it's difficult to connect the dots on this one. If I am the perpetrator of this freaking situation, I'm understanding that I want to change people's behaviors. I need to get the gun records so that I can identify who are those people that are owning these weapons that we want to get rid of. Mm-hmm. Can we start stalking them so we can wait to when they're not home and we roll in and raid their house?
But why is the IRS doing this?
Why is it the IRS even doing this to begin with? This is not the IRS job. The IRS should be showing up with a spreadsheet, nothing more, nothing less.
Why is the IRS working with the ATF?
Exactly. Makes no sense. It's not a criminal situation. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms and Explosive, that is for terrorists. That is for terrorists, not for a law-abiding gun store. Definitely not for the U.S. citizens. But I think we can all agree that that situation is flipping right now. So with this then, and if they can continue doing this, I think they can have a record of everyone who has purchased a firearm. They can target you. They can gaslight you. They can make you look like a crazy person whose guns needs to be taken away from them. And nothing will stop them from rolling up on your house at that point, shooting the whole thing down and taking those guns. We have to be very careful because we're going down a path that
it's not American.
It's not American. It's very un-American. We'll leave it at that. That's very un-American. All right. As far as it comes to Bitcoin in this situation, because I think it's very important that we point out how Bitcoin can change this situation. If you went to a gun store and you transacted in a currency that the government cannot track, such as cash, right? Mm-hmm. Then they might not be able to do this.
You don't need KYC or AML.
Right? They can also get this information from your bank. So that's something to also be thinking about.
Why didn't they go to the bank?
Exactly.
Why go to the gun store? I mean, the blockchain will know that you did a transaction somewhere.
Yes, the blockchain will know that you did a transaction somewhere.
We don't know where exactly. You don't need to know where exactly it was.
Exactly. Because guess what? They will gaslight you and tell you that, well, what do you have to hide? Why are you hiding it?
Because they will say it's national security reasons to protect you. We've been saying that since 9/11.
Exactly.
But they still attacked us. It has nothing to do with national security. It's all control.
Listen, I'll put it very simply, man. It is also your right not to put your business out there. So if you don't want to, you don't need to. And nobody needs to gaslight you to do that, period. It's as simple as that. That is what America is, as far as I can remember. Freedom to speech and also your freedom not to speak if you want to. Nobody has to come and force to get information about you. We're violating our own rules, man. And once you do that, you can see that it's downhill from there. Any final thoughts, sir? We'll close it out.
We did a video recently about the government indirectly using entities to accomplish some of their recent agendas.
Yeah.
So funny enough, some of these agendas looks very World Economic Forum-ish. Americans, you just gotta wake up, man. We're losing our Americanness.
I have faith in Americans, man. I have high hopes. Listen, they cannot take us out like that.
Hey, we're in America. We're able to say this and do this on the show because of it's America.
Hey, it's freedom of speech, man. That's why we're doing this here. Even though, sometimes people have freedom of speech and then they suddenly get locked up.
Oh, kind of man.
Like
Instagram,
Instagram
just Instagram blocked us.
Yes, they blocked us for telling the truth too. Or like Ted, I was saying, right? Locked up, no charges to this point in time. I'm still wondering to myself, who did that, and how could they do that when there was really nothing?
He pissed off that Greta whatever.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, he pissed that off and kick for his ass.
But how does that qualify you being in prison?
It's abuse of power. Simple.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. We want to engage in conversation. What are your thoughts on this situation? Maybe you're a law-abiding citizen and you're like, you know what? We need more laws to be abiding by. And if we don't do it, people should show up to our house with weapons because we do not pay taxes. Subscribe to or at least follow us on Twitter as well, STAKK. We are also on Spotify, STAKK. Until next time, brazen out.
As a matter of fact, we'd like you to come on the show and give your part of the argument.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let us know if you want to do that. We'll have you on. We'll set that up and chat about it.